Okay, we're ready to start segment 3. We have Mr. Vadnais, candidate for selectman, and Mr. Ennis and Mr. Brooks, candidate for planning board. If we'd start with a 3-minute opening statement by Mr. Vadnais.
Good evening. Thank you for your invitation. In way of telling you something about myself, I picked up the Rehoboth Reporter the other day and read to my amazement that I'm trying for my 6th term spread out over a period of time of 25 years. Couple that with 10 years on the Finance Committee and oh my God, where did the time go? I don't know, because it seems like the blink of an eye, probably because I enjoyed every minute of what I'm doing. No matter how contentious the situation was, no matter how heated the debate, I enjoyed every minute of it. And I look forward to serving 3 more years. I've had a few years off. I'm rested. I'm back. I'm ready. Thank you.
Thank you. We move to Mr. Brooks.
Yeah, I'm Steve Brooks. Do I really need this? Probably not. I've been in Rehoboth since 1981, and unlike Mike, I think he moved here because people opened the door for him. I moved to Rehoboth because I had a pet pig and I needed some property. Worked out very well. I've been here ever since. I'm a retired purchasing manager for a paper manufacturer. I'm a former member of the Conservation Commission, and I've been on the planning board for the last couple of years. It has been an honor and a pleasure to serve on that board, and I look forward to doing it for another 5 years. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Mr. Ennis?
Thomas Ennis, and I think along with Mr. Dignan, I think I'm the newest member in town so far. I've been in town about 7 years. Been on the planning board for 2 of those years. And I look forward to actually working another 5 more years with the board and hope we can keep the newfound sanity that we've had in this town continuing. So.
Okay, thank you. So we're missing Mr. Barrett. He wasn't able to make it tonight, or maybe he'll show up, but he's not here yet. So in this line of questioning, it's a little tilted towards the selectmen, so we'll probably go 2 to 1, selectmen to planning board. All right, I'll turn it over to Linda.
Mr. Vadnais, Rehoboth Public Access.
That's the question.
Yeah, Is it correct to say, first of all, that the monies received from Comcast are not being funneled back to Rehoboth Public Access?
The way you've asked this question cannot be answered. REPAC does not exist and receive monies anymore. So I can't answer that question. The money that comes back from Comcast that's going to the public broadcast facility that we now have, to the best of my knowledge, is being expended in the proper manner.
Yes. Yes. There's 2 more seats at the end there if you'd like to join us.
For the record, did they agree with me?
For the record, they did agree with you.
Thank you.
I'm going to ask a follow-up question, if I may. Specifically, how are those funds being utilized?
The funds are to be utilized for equipment, for personnel, and for the maintenance of the studio, that sort of thing. That's what the monies are meant to be used for.
Now that the Rehoboth Public Access is run by the town, they no longer cover certain events like the RBA Meet the Candidates Night. Why is the town restricting the content that is aired on public television? And doesn't this violate the spirit of public television?
No. The reason is that the town cannot sponsor a political event and it's town money now. It's the town that's running it. RBA was a organization set up that was separate from. It wasn't public, so to speak, quasi-public, if you would. And so the law actually prohibits the viewing or the airing of that on Channel 9 or them filming it. However, you do have an outlet, as you well know, in that channel, I believe it's 98, will air any films that you send into them. So
10
you
seconds.
do, in fact, have an outlet for your broadcast.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Yeah, we're going to move on to the next one. That was actually a multiple-pronged question, so thank you so much for your patience. An explanation. Actually, I have to ask one more question. Sorry.
I enjoyed this. Go right ahead.
Do you feel, let me go back. Previous Meet the Candidates nights, it was expressed by your peers that the public access should be actually put out to bid and a separate entity than from the town, not run by the town. What has happened with that position? Because apparently we did not follow through. And what do you feel we should do going forward?
First of all, I haven't the foggiest of what might have happened to that position since I wasn't part of creating the position. Do I feel that we should follow through? Yes, I do.
Thank you. I want to pass it over to Luke. Mr. Travis?
Question for Mr. Ennis for the planning board. I seem to be the guy promoting commercial development. Just given these questions, I think. What is your position on the planning board on increasing the commercial zoning setback along 44 and portions of 118? I know the planning board wouldn't vote to approve that, but personally, what would your position be on that? Would you be in favor of expanding the zoning setbacks or disfavor?
Actually, I think we have been discussing that the last several meetings, and we are, I think as a board, all in favor of increasing the setbacks slightly. I think they were mentioning 500 yards or 500 feet, so instead of the 300 feet boundary right now. But I would be in favor of that up to, again, we'd have to look at and find out what a good setback range would be, because as people in the area know, you don't want to have too large of a setback because people around here don't want to have a Walmart or a Lowe's, Home Depot type of situation here. So you're going to have to limit that setback to some distance. So that. Fair enough.
Mr. Brooks, I would point the same question to you. How would you feel about increasing the setbacks, or are you happy with the type of development that we seem to get along 44, which seems to be consistently close to the road and kind of limits what we have?
Yeah, I think there's some there's some things that we need to consider and be open to, and increasing the amount of setback in commercially zoned areas is something we should look at. So I would agree with Tom on that. I believe that any suggestions that we might have as a board would have to go in front of the town meeting because it's a bylaw change. And I would furthermore agree with Tom that the board is certainly considering and in favor, I think, of taking a look at our current zoning bylaws and seeing what changes might be made that would make it a more livable town for everybody, residential and commercial. And also get our bylaws
10 seconds.
up to snuff with current with the current law. So.
Fair enough. And as a follow-up, do you think, and I guess I'll keep that with you, Mr. Brooks, and then we'll go back to Mr. Ennis. Do you think that the commercial zoning overlay should be changed in this town, throughout town, in different areas? Are there areas where maybe there shouldn't be a commercial overlay anymore, and places where there aren't commercial overlays that should have them?
I think that is also something that needs to be looked at. I think there are a lot of, I shouldn't say a lot, there are certain commercial zones that are more or less grandfathered. They were there for a business that might have existed a long time ago and maybe still is there. I won't profess to be an expert on each square foot of commercially zoned area, but that is something that we ought to look at as a town as well, is you know, should we make any changes in the current zoning map?
Mr. Brooks? I'm sorry, Mr. Ennis?
I agree with Mr. Brooks here. I think we should, again, look at the area zoning map and see what's out there. Because there are areas that are predominantly residential that are zoned mixed-use commercial residential areas, and you know, people don't want to have commercial right in their front yard, backyard. But conversely, there's also large swaths of land that cannot be currently developed right now due to zoning regulations that we can look at that might entail better commercial areas that can be off the road, not out of sight, out of mind type thing in very large areas of land where people know it's there but can be set back. So yeah, I think we can look at the zoning areas and possibly make attempts at potentially rezoning.
Okay, very good. All right, now I'm going to switch gears. Can I get the next one?
Please do.
Okay, thanks. Mr. Vadnang. Boy, I have a set of questions here. I don't even know where to begin.
Beginning, sir.
Yeah, they're great, though. So, Bliss Solar Farm. What's your thoughts on that? What do you see as the positive or negative impacts of this possible project? And what do you think would be a fair and reasonable deal?
A fair and reasonable deal, I think, would have to be determined in cooperation with the Board of Assessors, who would have to come to some determinations, probably through negotiations as they do on towers and broadcast towers and things of that nature, as to the value. As to the payment plan, well, then I would be open to seeing what would be the best for the town. I know they've made an offer of a certain amount over a certain number of years. I haven't seen the numbers on that, so I can't tell you which way to go. I'm open-minded on that situation, and that's the way I would proceed, is in conjunction with the Board of Assessors. Do I see a benefit to the program? Certainly, we need to switch our dependency from fossil fuels. Have spoken to some of the neighbors in that neighborhood. They say, generally they say the same thing. It's zone commercial, it's zoned for what they're doing there. I live in a commercial zone. I, anticipate that at some point in time a business could be there. I'd rather have that, is what one of them told me, than a housing development.
10 seconds.
I'm all done with my answer. Unless I missed a portion of your question, you want to re-ask it.
Oh, that's good, but no, I don't.
Okay.